Hello and welcome. Today I'm in the tier 10 Japanese carrier, the Hakuryuu. In this match we are fighting on the map North, and I think we are at a disadvantage in teams. I mean, I'm in a division with a Hakuryuu and a Yamato. The enemy gets a Midway, 2 Montanas. Okay, that's fine, but we get 4 Atagos. They get 3 Tirpitz, but we also get 1 Tirpitz, so I think we are at a disadvantage because we have more of the premium ships who usually don't know how to play as well, and we have the battleship disadvantage too. So anyways, I start out by going through the sea area to hopefully hit the battleship like a Tirpitz, but sadly enemy fighters are coming in. I don't know how he guessed it, but he guessed exactly where I wanted to take my planes. So I wanted to drop quickly on the Benson, but sadly I messed it up quite a bit, mainly because I'm not used to plane carriers anymore because of the recent changes. I don't really want to fight Midway fighters even with both of my fighter groups, even though I have all the fighter upgrades without a friendly anti-air nearby, because even with both groups I cannot kill that one group without extreme luck or friendly anti-air help. Anyways, I guess my first drop completely failed, so I'll just try to use the dive bombers to set the Tirpitz on fire and then follow up again, because the Tirpitz has weak anti-air, so it's more or less okay. I think that the Midway is actually more powerful than the Hakuryuu, at least outside of something like a clan war, because in a clan war carriers would mostly play the role of scouts. And then having 4-2-2 is much better, but since I don't like playing 4-2-2 because it's just clicking on planes, well, I don't really want to play it. And this cruiser, friendly cruiser here, is a bit of an idiot. He didn't use his ability, but the Midway didn't drop well either. I mean, he only hit like, what, 2 or 3 of those? The other thing that the Midway has is a huge amount of spare planes, so actually killing off those torpedo bombers is kinda useless, and it's not really the best thing to do.
Group 6, maintaining present course.
Because it's very unlikely to make a Midway run out of planes. I'll probably run out of fighters first. Well, it seems I couldn't get close because of the enemy fighters to the Tirpitz either, and since my fighters were engaged by the enemy fighters, I just engaged back to use the last bits of ammunition and then just go fly back to the ship. The one group that got caught is gonna die anyway, so can't really do much about it, but at least the fighter is using his ammunition on attacking my fighters. Although he left for some reason. Well, at least I can use my dive bombers on the Tirpitz now, probably. And also my torpedo bombers on something. So if you want a recommendation, I would say Japanese carriers are better overall, especially if you don't play the game too much. But specifically, US ones at tier 10 are much better. The Midway is much better than the Hakuryuu in strike. That is in random battles. In actual gameplay, of course. I mean, in organized gameplay, it's a bit different. Then again, I wouldn't recommend playing a carrier in those anyway. Well, my first dive bomber strike failed because of the way the planes just turn around. I don't understand why they didn't just make the circle a bit bigger. That would just make it easier to understand what the hell is going on. And just keep the other stuff the same, because the planes can turn well enough. They just don't when they have to do a strike. But in every other case they can turn fine that way. So it's just a bit odd to me. Anyways, I wanted to finish off the destroyer, but it seems like I was unable to. But because there's a cruiser next to the Tirpitz, I can't finish that one off anyway, so I might as well use it here. I'll probably won't do anything with it anyway, so... Yep! The destroyer completely managed to avoid it. So I'll just go around to do another strike. By the way, if you don't play carriers and think carriers are overpowered, then just look at what has been happening. And you know that I'm a decent carrier player at least, and look at what the hell this match has been going on for me. It's been 7 minutes. I have done like 5,000 damage total.
Reporting the position of a priority target.
The issue most people have is that they don't realize how much time it takes for one strike to happen, if it can even happen. At the end, an enemy carrier hasn't been interrupting me, nor have the cruisers, but if I tried to hit another target like that Tirpitz, the Atagu would use his ability, which would make the strike take more than 40 seconds longer. On top of that, it would also be weaker.
Maintaining present course. Group 5, ready. Group 4, standing by for instructions. Over. Group 7, taking fire.
Also, people who whine about anti-air strength, when you do that, please actually use examples that make sense. Like these two Montanas are pretty far away from one another. So don't say things like they are right next to one another, because they are not at all. They are using completely different anti-air guns. Anyways, I'll loop around to the Montana strikes, because the Montana seems to be standing still, so it should be a decent time to strike. I could even drop from further away, so I wouldn't lose as many planes. I have to be a bit wary about the Midway suddenly coming for me, because my fighters aren't exactly near my ship anymore. But I'll group up all of my torpedo bombers, because otherwise the lone group would be wasted. And try to strike the Montana that's further or nearer and standing still. Well, I can't actually, because now the Montanas are next to one another. And now trying to strike the one that's at the back of the first one will probably get too many of my planes killed to actually have a decent chance of even striking, so I have to strike the one that's closer by. Striking further away. Lost only 4 planes before the strike, which is decent, I guess, in a situation like this anyway. Then again, I don't know whether they actually reacted properly. I did hit both Montanas, which is good. I'll try to set a closer one on fire with my 2 dive bombers.
We're under attack. Group 6, ready. Group 8, taking fire. Concentrate fire on the enemy warship. Group 5, ready for takeoff.
I mean, it's standing still and it's one of the largest targets possible.
Maintaining present course.
And my 2 dive bombers still only got 6 hits. But actually, I guess that's a pretty high amount of hits, because some of them died to the anti-air first. Luckily, somebody else finished him off, and the second Montana should be an easier kill now. Game's going pretty even so far.
Group 6, standing by for instructions.
But we did have quite a matchmaking disadvantage.
Ready. Attention. Reporting the target position.
I guess now that weak carrier targets are dead on the left side. I'll pull them back to protect the important ones like the Yamato. I would like to stop them from capping C though,
We're under attack.
but it's a Mogami, so the chances of me being able to strike are slim because of the Mogami ability and the cruiser fighter. I can't do anything about the cruiser fighter, because if I bring even one fighter over, that's gonna be a huge disadvantage if they attack the Yamato. On top of that, if oh, and the Mogami used this ability. Well, I guess I'll try to finish this Tirpitz off then. And the other thing is that if I do bring my fighters over and some of them die, then the Midway could come with his fighters and fight my fighters, and he would probably even win.
Waiting instructions. Group 3, we're under attack. Group 4, we're under attack. Group 6, taking fire.
See, the Midway is going for the Yamato strike, but my fighters are around, so it shouldn't be that bad. And because of the Yamato's anti-air, I could win the fighter fight against his fighters.
Group 4, we're under
That's why you click on the ship when you want to defend it, because that means the planes will automatically defend and attack back when enemy planes are near. Since the Mogami used his ability, I can strike here now. And I'll try to follow up with dive bombers on the Tirpitz, because Tirpitz has poor anti-air, so it should be a decent strike.
Autopilot mode disabled.
Group 4, target destroyed.
Autopilot mode enabled. 7 returning.
Damn, no fire. But the Tirpitz was standing still almost, and all 5 dropped, and still only 2 hits. Dive bombers are so annoyingly RNG.
We're under attack.
I didn't notice the chat by strangers here. He had asked this earlier. Sadly, I couldn't. I didn't have enough planes available. On top of that, I didn't notice it.
Group 3, ready. Group 6, maintaining present course.
Well, since I only got one dive bomber strike off with a fire on the Tirpitz, I couldn't set him on fire because he just uses damage control party and there's nothing I can do about it. I think they should make dive bombers way more accurate, but just harder to hit. Leave the manual drop, the automatic drop the same, but make manual drop the circle even smaller, so you are much more likely to hit. Essentially, if it's a battleship and standing still and you're doing a manual dive bomber drop, you should hit all of them from the front every single time, because unless you miss, of course. At least I think they should make it that way. And this wouldn't really change the fight against destroyers either, because destroyers would be hit by automatic drops anyway, because you won't really hit the destroyer well with a manual drop, and if you try, the destroyer will just turn away and that'll be no problem.
Group 5, taking fire. Group 6, we're under attack.
Important part is to defend the Yamato from dive bombers, torpedo bombers.
3, we're under attack.
Group 8 ready for takeoff. Group 7 maintaining present.
And try to finish the Iowa.
Group 3, awaiting instructions.
And then the Tirpitz.
Enemy battleship destroyed.
Group 3, target destroyed. Group 2, returning. Group 3, standing by for instructions. Over. Group 5, taking fire. Group 4, we're under attack.
Group 7 taking fire. Group 8 airborne. Group
Oh, I'm
7
out of
awaiting
dive bombers.
instructions.
at least I do have torpedo bombers left, because I didn't...
7, standing by for instructions.
Well, I tried to not lose them. I'll try to get the decap, because the problem here is that they have 4 cap points, we have none, and unless we can kill all of them, it's gonna be incredibly problematic.
Group 8, awaiting instructions.
I mean, think about it, even a Tirpitz with his almost non-existent anti-air could kill a torpedo bomber. That's so BS if you think about it, mainly because... Oh, and I didn't get the flooding either, mainly because... I mean, in this case it didn't really matter, I would have done the same amount of damage anyway, but if it did matter, it would be a pretty big difference. That could have been the difference between a flooding and no flooding. Of course, in this case, it wouldn't have mattered because it would have missed because of the large spread. Still, though, I mean, this Yamato has 46,000 HP. The Midway is going in for a drop with 2 torpedo bombers. And the Yamato has no help. He is completely alone.
Group 6, ready for takeoff. Group 5, maintaining present course.
And we'll see in a moment how much HP he has left.
Group 7, standing by for instructions.
I thought that was a decent drop on the Tirpitz, but only one dive bomber hit, which is incredibly surprising. Remember, you have to click way behind the ship to that you want to attack when making your planes move, mainly because, well, if you don't, then you can't probably drop properly, because you need to click in the place where the marker is and it won't let you do the drop. Wow, kind of a poor drop on the Tirpitz, but he should die off to the flooding anyway. Oh, I mean fire. Okay, good. And let's check how much HP the Yamato has. 35,000! And he didn't get help from the fighters against the torpedo bombers. Only the dive bombers. Problem is, we only have 1 minute and they have a 60-point lead. We need to either kill this Tirpitz or the Midway, one or the other, and Midway is probably an easier kill though. Especially because the Yamato is so close by, but still, it can be problematic because I have a hard time attacking from here, mainly because of the closeness to the island.
Our victory is in sight.
Well, Midway is at half HP, half a minute left. Got to make sure the Yamato doesn't die now. Well, Midway quarter HP, and I think... Fuck! Damn! Well, I guess this is what happens when you don't do well at the start. In 20 minutes I only managed a little over 20 torpedo bomber hits. Because it takes a long time to make that. Look, the Yamato has over 1,000 base experience more than I do. Yet I did 160k damage. And it also cost me 105k. But anyways, well, it is what it is. So if you enjoyed this video, then please subscribe, and thanks for watching.